All right, so you might notice that this looks similar to the previous video, right? Which kind of is. So let's go through the RAG process. You ask ChatGPT a question, right? Or whatever LLM. You ask the LLM a question. That typically does not get chunked. It's rare for an LLM model to have a chunking process. It just goes through the embedding process. Okay. So we're going to skip the chunking because those are kind of like very exception based. For the most part, you might not even deal with that. So question, it goes through the embedding process. The embedding process is the same, right? It gets tokenized, broken into words, subcharacters, goes through a mathematical process, right? I left that out, but it goes through a mathematical process, converts to vector, vector that gets actually searched, it's not get added. But now that you have the vectors, right, your query has been converted to numbers. It looks at the vector database for the closest proximity to your query, which are numbers now, right? So it searches the database, it picks the top K result. Top K results just basically be top number results, right? So top 10, top 20, whatever results. The results are sent back to the LLM plus the user's query, right? Your question. This gets sent back to them. Then the LLM interprets your results plus your user query and produces an output, your reply, right? That's basically what RAG is. So put this part right here, from question to search in vector, it's retrieval. From this part right here is augmented. So basically the LLM is augmenting on your query, right? It's finding the relevance through the repository, the database, to enrich your query, and then it picks closest result, and then the generation, right? When it pushes to the LLM, it generates the output, which is already enriched by the augmented process. Hopefully, the RAG-free process and this was simplified for you to understand, because I feel that this is a very important process to understand how it works. So you just don't jump in blind. I see a lot of other communities and people that just don't really teach this stuff. They kind of just say, hey, they go through question and it just goes through vectors and then it puts out an output, right? Hopefully this has given you some insight as to what RAG is, and it's not like super complicated. Yes, the mathematical process here could be, but you're not dealing with that. All right, so that's it. Any questions? Ask in the community forum, or just feel free to DM me. All right, see you later.